I decided to compile 3 of my shortest yet funniest debates over the past few months. First up, a guy I previously debated, shows up for a rematch, or, so I thought.
Oh, it looks like we're going to have a rematch debate with this guy. Okay, so I guess we're going to jump right into this debate here since he is in the Discord already. Most of you are hopefully in remembrance of this little classic debate that I had not too long ago. This one right here. You guys remember this debate? Heated debate with bisexual liberal. Well, he's back again, okay? And this time I have promised him that I will give him a minimum of 60 seconds to talk uninterrupted every time it's his turn to respond because he accused me of being a pussy. Quick rundown. We already talked we had the conversation about whether or not kids should learn about consent in public schools. And then you told me I was a pussy who would never debate you for real or something, even though I thought that we already had a real debate.
No, we had one of those things where you have somebody on their show and then you try to maneuver the conversation in a specific way and then try to clip them because that's your entire job. So I'm actually not going to debate you now. I actually am going to be on a podcast with Nikki Starkiller. She's a trans person in our organization who's the chapter leader of the South Carolina Gays Against Groomers chapter. You and I can have a debate, but it's going to be on both of our terms at a neutral location with some sort of moderator. Okay?
Well, can we at least talk for a little while I'm here? Because I have a timer pulled up to make sure that you have 60 seconds uninterrupted.
60 seconds uninterrupted. I don't know, man, because that's sort of like.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the Gays About Groomer thing? What's the goal of Gays About Groomer? I'm going to start the timer now.
What did you call it?
Gays Against Groomers?
There you go. You call it Gays About Groomers. Okay, so Gays Against Groomers. I would say the main mission of Gays Against Groomers is to stop the widespread ideological indoctrination of children that is going on inside schools. I live in Illinois. I'm the chapter leader of the Illinois Gays Against Groomers, and they are teaching kids sexuality from a non-heteronormative perspective that also includes many leftist concepts such as intersectionality and oppression that exists back through a millennia. It's indoctrination of children in schools when they should just be learning basic things. They can learn about this stuff from a feminism class when they take it in college. It is straight up ideological indoctrination, and we won't stand for it, which is, of course, why I have declared war on all groomers. There you go. I'm done.
Cool. Okay. Very nice. So I guess the first thing I would ask you is, what is your definition of indoctrination?
Indoctrination is presenting a topic such as sexuality and then framing it in a leftist pseudo-religious perspective. And
no, that wouldn't be indoctrination, because just as equally I could say,
you're wrong.
No, indoctrination by definition is teaching somebody or a group of people to accept something uncritically. So if they were being sat
exactly
hold on, hey, I get a few minutes to talk too.
You do.
If they were to be sat down and told, gay people are good, don't you dare think differently, if you do, you're a bigot, then I would be against that, because that would be a form of indoctrination. Similarly, indoctrination can occur with religion. All the time we see indoctrination occur with religion. So if you're talking about a child in school simply learning facts of the matter, like gay people exist, this is what it means to have a different sexuality, etc., that's not indoctrination. You're just educating somebody.
My turn?
Yeah, I'm done.
The teaching that they are currently employing in schools is taught from, like I said, a non-heteronormative perspective. The non-heteronormative perspective, Hunter, is pseudoscience. It's religious hokum masquerading as science, which is why we're all so angry, which is why it's indoctrination. There's no such thing as a gender identity. There's no such thing as any of these things. It's all based in pseudoscience. And you know who does these experiments, Hunter? Do you know who does the research? Gender ideologues. They're the only ones that want to go into the field because they're ideologues. They're religious zealots who seek to force their worldview on all of us. And they're going after kids, which is why we're going after them. And you, Hunter, because you enable them with your entire platform, which is why you're a fucking groomer.
Gotcha. So I understand if you are not a fan of this framework that's being taught. However,
It's
I think that
it's cult indoctrination.
hold
Hunter.
on.
It's
No,
cult
it's not,
indoctrination.
because if
Yes,
they're
it
not
is.
being wait,
No,
if they're
no.
not being taught to accept something uncritically, then it's not indoctrination. Just if you don't
They
agree with it,
literally are.
that's fine. We can talk about our
No,
disagreements there. However,
it's not a disagreement, Hunter.
hold on.
Hunter, it's not a disagreement.
Hold
It's a
on.
disagreement between teaching children truth and teaching them pseudoscientific
Well, because something
garbage.
you just said is not true. When you said that there's no such thing as a gender identity, that is literally just false. People
No, it's
have
not.
a gender identity. People have an
Hunter,
identity internally, and that internal identity is informed by social views of gender norms and gender roles. So that's the first thing.
Hunter.
Is that hold on, wait. I get a few seconds to
Okay,
respond to
okay.
that.
You
Okay.
do. I apologize. I
So
apologize.
if we
I'm
want to
just
debate
happy
that
to be here.
concept, gender identity, I'm fine with that. I totally am okay with you disagreeing with it. If you think it's bullshit, if you think it's lies, that's all fine. However, you need to concede then that it is not indoctrination, at least not in principle. It's possible for it
Incorrect.
to be taught in a way that's indoctrination. However,
No.
this concept by itself being taught is not intrinsically indoctrination. Are you willing to concede that?
No. And let me explain why. Hunter, you just said it yourself. It is an internal perception of oneself. There is no difference between a man thinking that Christ is going to come back and save the world and a person that thinks they're the opposite gender. It is a spiritual belief. They're teaching spirituality to children, Hunter, and presenting it as objective fact. There is no way to quantify a experience such as being trans. The very definition of trans is to have an identity without an essence. There's no basis for it, Hunter. By teaching children that this is a
Oh, you cut out. You still there?
by teaching by
Hey, you're cutting out. I'm not trying to interrupt you. You cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
It is, dude, the idea of having a gender identity. Hey, okay, I literally have trans people that are my friends. And I'm like, hey, if this is what you identify as, that's great. But I just want you to let you know that that is a spiritual concept. There is no quantitative way to measure if someone actually is of the opposite gender than what they say. However, we can tell whether a man is a man or a woman is a woman. Do you know why? Because it takes a man to stick his dick inside of a pussy and then a baby's born. We know that in an objective scientific way.
You're
Everything
right.
else is superstitious hokum. It's
Okay, well,
indoctrination.
hold on. All right, let me respond now. So, first of all, if it's being taught, I'm going to keep going back to this. I know you're never going to concede this, but if you want, you should just go on Google and type in define indoctrination. And it's, again, being taught something uncritically. If they're being taught this
Hunter,
as, here's a concept, this is some
No.
ways that people identify as, that's not being taught something uncritically. So, therefore,
Yes, it
it
is.
wouldn't be indoctrination. Then you say there's
Incorrect.
no difference from Christians.
Yeah.
In some ways, you're actually correct. However, would you say that Christians
always
are not
incorrect.
real? Would you say that Christians are not real? Are they
Oh
bullshit?
no! Oh no! Oh no! Hunter! The idea that God is king is a great idea to have and have fun having it. But guess what, Hunter? It's an idea. It's a belief, just like the belief that you can be born in the wrong body. It's a spiritual belief. Get it out of school.
Hold on, but you said that there's no such.
For all of you.
Okay, but you said there's no such thing as gender identity. But you
Hunter,
are acknowledging that there is such
No.
a thing as a religious identity. So if you're going to be consistent, why are you saying there is such a thing as religious identity? Why wouldn't you say religious identity is also
not what I'm
bullshit and not real?
I am saying, Hunter, that the idea that you can be trans and a religious identity are the same thing. I mean, when I say they're not real, Hunter, I mean not objectively real. I am walking on cement right now. This is real. The idea that God is watching over me, Hunter, it's an idea. It's a religion. They're indoctrinating kids.
Yeah, but I'm asking you a really simple yes or no question.
I already answered. Hunter, I already answered your question. You're just too stupid to realize it.
But you said gender identity isn't
that?
real, correct? Did you earlier say that gender identity isn't
Hunter,
real?
Hunter, it's not. It's
did you
real
say
to
that?
the
Yes or
person,
no?
Hunter? Yes, I did. But listen, it's real to the person that experiences it, just like it's real to the person that experiences that Christ is king. However, to a Muslim, Christ isn't king, neither to a Jew. It's an idea, Hunter. It's religious
You're actually kind of proving my point. So
no, I'm not.
There is
No,
such a thing then as religious identity. So do you agree then that there's such a thing as religious identity? Wait. I need to get a turn to here to actually make my argument.
Yes.
So yes or no, is there such a thing as religious identity?
Yes. Should religious identity be taught in school as objective fact, Hunter? Should it? Yes or no?
No, but it should be taught.
No, it shouldn't.
It should be taught as in, here is religion. This is what some people believe. Some people are Muslim. Obviously, you should be taught the history of religion and whatnot.
Hunter, they are teaching all of sexuality through a trans lens. It is straight up indoctrination, and you're a fool if you don't realize it.
Okay, I'm understanding that you don't agree with it, and that's totally fine. You don't have to agree with it. But when you call it indoctrination, you are just fucking wrong, because that's not the definition of the word. Yeah, and then the last thing you said is there's no such thing, or there's no way to quantify. Hold on, please. Hunter. Then you said there's no way to quantify the trans experience. You're right, but I hope you know that the only form of data collection is not quantified data, right? There's also qualitative data, which is incredibly important when it comes to measuring how people feel about things, people experience the world around them, etc. So just if you can't, quote, quantify the trans experience, doesn't really mean anything, because we can qualify the trans experience.
My poor boy. Hunter, so guess what, buddy? Your time's up. I got to go. We are going to have a substantive debate on both of our channels where we both have access to footage so you can see my beautiful face, and we're going to have a moderator. Actual Justice Warrior, look at how I embarrass this stupid idiot. Actual Justice Warrior, be my moderator.
Is this what you're trying to do? Is like just suck this guy's cock? Really? This whole time was just so that you could go and suck off AJW? That's wow, that's pretty embarrassing.
Hey Hunter, we'll talk.
Were you indoctrinated into it?
Hey Hunter, my people will reach out to your people. You take care now, buddy. I love you, bro.
Okay, yeah. Goodbye, Schizo. Well, that went well.
Next up, I cannot figure out if this guy is a troll.
Yeah, I remember right away why I didn't talk to you last time, because it sounds like you're faking your voice.
I'm sorry, man. Like, I've got kind of a Philadelphian accent, so it sounds like, you know what I'm saying?
Not really, no. It sounds like you're, like, really faking your voice. I don't think this is your real voice, genuinely.
No, I swear it is, dude. Like, would you rather I, like, spoke differently?
So what's up? Have we talked before? Were you the one I talked to about Andrew Tate in the past?
Nah, man. I was the guy who called you the other day, and I was super high and stuff, but, like, you hung up on me because you thought I was faking my voice.
Yeah. Definitely sounds... Wait, no, Hunter, I have the same voice? Okay. Yeah, what did you say the other day? It was something insane about gay people.
So, yeah, I can actually prove that homosexuality is morally wrong, and it's super freaking easy. Like, you choose to look at it from the wrong perspective, but actually, it's pretty obvious why it's wrong. Because
hit me up with it. I'm gonna put my notes down here. Okay, so I can follow this. So why is homosexuality morally wrong?
Well, you see people like James Charles, Jeffree Star. What do they all have in common? What does every homosexual popular influencer have in common?
What?
They're all pedophiles. They're all creeps. They've all have like these horrible sexual charges. Why do you think that is?
Has Jeffree Star ever had any like accusations of pedophilia?
Yeah, he has. You can look it up if you want.
Okay, but what about like the countless gay people that haven't?
Well, like, what do you mean by that? Like, they're probably just like what celebrity that you know that's like been put in the spotlight that hasn't been like accused of some kind of sexual charges?
Ellen, she's lesbian.
Don't get started on Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, but she hasn't had any kind of sexual scandal.
Well, it's mostly more with like the guys and stuff.
Okay, yeah, this is why I feel like maybe I don't know if you're trolling or if you're like actually just a lost lamb here, but
I'm not lost.
This doesn't make any sense. No, this doesn't make any sense. And I know Ellen isn't a great example. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Okay. There are plenty of gay people though that exist in the spotlight that haven't had like a sexual scandal. People are bringing up Neil Patrick Harris, and this notion that like James and Jeffree Star are somehow the spokespeople or the representatives of the gays is genuinely a homophobic perspective. That's like a bad view to have. It's the same thing as me pulling up 5 different headlines of Florida man has sex with alligator and then saying, hey, look, white men are fucking alligators constantly, so white men are immoral.
Well, I want to ask you this question. Do you know any gay person that isn't super overly horny, always talking about sex all the time? Like,
Do you know any man who is not overly horny and always talking about sex?
yeah, I know multiple.
Okay. So even if you do, their men on average tend to be more horny. That's just like a fact. So if you're seeing gay men, you might see them acting more horny as well. But this is just a man thing. This isn't a gay
But
thing.
but I don't know a single gay guy that isn't 10 times hornier than like any other person I know.
But being horny is not immoral.
But it can be unhealthy because you're
But your argument
constantly.
was that it's immoral. Unhealthy is
But it
not the same
is.
as immoral.
I mean, isn't something being unhealthy like immoral?
Not necessarily. You would also have to then prove that it was unhealthy. So, like, is it immoral to be a Catholic priest because those people are at a higher likelihood of abusing children, usually because those men are extremely horny because they have committed to living a life of celibacy in order to be a priest? Like, is that immoral?
Well, well, then I'd say so.
So, you would say that's immoral to be a Catholic priest.
I mean, if it's causing like other people harm, then yeah.
Okay, I agree that if something is causing other people harm, that it might be immoral. But you realize that it's not being a Catholic priest that is immoral or being gay that's immoral. It would be abusing a child that would be immoral.
Exactly. But like, I don't know any gay person that isn't like a predator or something like that.
Well, the majority of child molestations, for example, are committed by men in heterosexual relationships. Like, that's just a statistical fact.
But you know who they're going after usually? They're going after little boys.
Maybe. Maybe not. Usually, if we're talking about a pedophile, like an actual pedophile, they're not always attracted to boys or girls. It's rather they're attracted to just prepubescence. It's disgusting. It really is. Like, it's sickening to even talk about it. But
I
there
mean, I
are
agree,
different
but
types of child predators. Some are opportunistic. Others are genuinely pedophiles in the sense that they don't care whether you are a boy or a girl. They are merely attracted to the power dynamic and the fact that that child is prepubescent.
okay, so then coming from that perspective, how is like being attracted to the same gender any different than being attracted to kids? I mean, there are people that are genuinely naturally attracted to children, and you can like look through history and stuff like
I
that.
know
Should
there
that be
are.
allowed?
No, those
Should that
people
be
need to go
allowed?
to therapy immediately
But then how
and
is that
stay
any
the fuck
different?
away from kids.
Then how is that any different than being gay?
Maybe we can walk through this a little bit. Do you think there's a difference between a straight adult man having sex with a straight adult woman versus a straight adult man having sex with a little girl? Do you think there's a difference?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what's the difference?
It's that like the person like isn't ready yet, but like
Okay, so they're not able to consent, right?
yeah.
Okay. So that's the difference right there for gay people. Having a consensual sexual relationship with another man is apples to oranges when compared to engaging in a sexual act with a child who cannot consent.
Well, like if you're coming at it like this, what if a 15-year-old girl consented to having sex with a 65-year-old man? Like, how is that any different?
Well, then we would just have to invoke the law. But the reason that would be different is that at 15, your brain is still not developed enough so to adequately give consent for something as significant as sex, marriage, etc.
Then why should people be like taught about like homosexuality and like being gay in school and stuff like that? Now you can be whatever you want because like
Because
their brains
people
aren't
can be
fully developed yet.
gay. No, because people can be gay, but that has nothing to do with having sex with children.
What do you mean?
A lot of people are saying that you're a troll. Aren't you the same guy who debated me on the Andrew Tate thing that said everything was a bot?
No.
Really? That wasn't you? Because you
What are you
debated me,
talking about?
some guy debated me on the Andrew Tate bot thing and then later posted on their channel was like saying they were trolling the whole time. So I think that you might just be wasting my time here.
No, Andrew Tate is gay.
Okay. Yeah, that guy was a troll. I don't want to be like disrespectful and be like, you're a troll, bye. But at the same time, it's like, I can only take so much before it's obvious, you know?
Lastly, here I debate a guy about Biden's speech. It gets very annoying.
Could you tell me what I remembered the other day you were saying how amazing the Biden speech was? Could you tell me what exactly it was again?
Yeah, it was fantastic that he was willing to call out the fringe extremists while separating them clearly from overall Republicans. And then I think it was you that was saying that was actually divisive, which it's only divisive if you're a dipshit MAGA extremist. If you're not, then it shouldn't be divisive at all.
Okay, so I'm a dipshit MAGA
No, I'm
extremist.
not, not you literally. I'm saying, like, generally speaking, if somebody feels that that is a divisive speech, it would only make sense if they were a dipshit MAGA extremist.
Well, the fact is he was calling out MAGA extremists, saying that the people that think that the election was stolen. Well, the fact of the matter is, I think over 70% of Republicans think that the election was stolen. So that wouldn't make them extremists. That would make the so-called Republicans, the non-extremists, the minority.
Well, do you think that's the fault of Biden, or do you think that's the fault of the Republicans then? Because, yeah, if you have 70% of Republicans that are actually brain dead enough to think that the fucking election was stolen, then, yeah, well, hold on, wait. Then maybe we genuinely do want to be divided from them.
Okay, so then it is divisive.
No, I don't think it's divisive when Biden's going out of his way to clarify that this is not all Republicans, and even if you're right about that 70% stat, which I would have to look at because I don't know if that's true, then he is not saying, or excuse me, Biden seems to be under the impression that it is a fringe minority. So throughout Biden's speech, that's why he said, this is a small group with loud voices that are swaying the Republican Party. Are you there?
I'm sorry. Sorry, you broke up on me there.
Okay, I'll say that again. Even if your 70% stat was correct, it seems that Biden was under the impression that it is a much smaller minority. And that's why Biden went out of his way to say that this is a fringe minority and that this doesn't speak for all Republicans. There's also a loud group of Republicans that don't think the election was stolen. And yeah, I would say you are going to fall under the category of being a MAGA extremist if you think the election was stolen. Yes.
See, but then that brings us to the press secretary, who obviously speaks for him, who talks about how 2016 election was stolen. So
I don't know who said that, and I don't believe you, but regardless, that is just whataboutism. I don't care if someone else said something dumb also, okay? Fine. If you think the 2020 election was stolen or rigged against Donald Trump, then yes, you are a MAGA extremist.
Personally, I don't.
I'm not saying you, man. I'm saying it rhetorically. You
buddy,
think...
Buddy, I'm not saying that you do. All I'm saying is this is what's so divisive, is that that's what's being said right there, but then in the same breath, they're saying that the 2016 election was stolen. I mean, this was just like a few weeks ago. You don't believe me?
No.
Okay. Well, go check it out. The whole reason I bring this stuff up is because I have two sides of the family, left and right, and I'm like middle, leaning more towards left. And it sucks because one side of my family hates me because my beliefs on one side, the other side hates me because of my beliefs on the other side. And I'm all about, getting people together and all that. But there are just certain things about the speech, like I said, that were just divisive. As far as one thing in particular also was the whole, he keeps saying democracy. We're a democracy. We got to protect democracy. Mm-hmm. And this over and over and over. We're not a democracy. America's not a democracy.
Okay, so two things. Is one, Congratulations, you were not lying. It does seem as though in 2016, this woman made a tweet where she suggested that the election was stolen. And in that case, this woman is also a fucking dumb fuck. So for the sake of consistency, there you go. Second of all, I know we're technically a democratic republic, but when Biden is talking about democracy, what he means by that is that when you have a democratic process, which is everybody in the country votes, and then you have a group of extremists that try to stop the certification of that democratic process from taking place, they are standing in the way of democracy. It's really that simple.
Right. The whole point in a democracy, though, is to or in a republic, and it's not so much a democratic republic as it is a constitutional republic. But he cites things like the infrastructure bill, and he says it's unlike anything except for like Eisenhower. Eisenhower was, the one who made the greatest infrastructure bill of all time, but none of his infrastructure bill is nothing like Eisenhower. Eisenhower's infrastructure bill was all roads, actual roads and bridges, whereas this one has, very little to do with it. I mean,
okay, so I just looked it up, and let's go through this. First of all, this, by the way, has nothing to do with the original argument. I didn't know you were here to, say where you thought Biden was wrong. I thought we were talking about whether or not the speech was divisive, per se. And for him to cite this, it actually is the opposite of your claim that he's being divisive, because this was a bipartisan bill that passed. It works on no more lead pipes, which is important. High-speed internet access, important. Better roads and bridges, investments in public transit, upgrade airports, investment in passenger rail, network of electric vehicle chargers, upgrade power infrastructure, resilient infrastructure, and investment in environmental remediation. So what's wrong with that?
And it's so broad when it comes to the whole climate change stuff, the environmental stuff. It doesn't go into any detail what that is.
You can read about it on the website, and yes, it does.
All right. Well,
with a multi-billion-dollar repair backlog representing more than 24,000 buses, 5,000 rail cars, 200 stations, communities of color are twice as likely to take public transportation. Transportation sector in the United States is now the largest. The legislation includes $39 billion of new investment to modernize transit, in addition to continuing the existing transit program for 5 years as part of a new surface transportation reauthorization. So, yes, this gives details, and again, this totally flies in the face of what you were just arguing, that it was divisive when he's citing a bill that passed that was bipartisan.
Yeah, but the whole bipartisan thing, it's really not. You have, two Congress people that agreed with it, Cheney and Kinzinger or whatever.
I don't care. Bipartisan doesn't mean literally every single person in Congress agreed. It means the majority of both sides did.
Do you consider them actual Republicans, though? Like, seriously?
My dude, what is the argument you're trying to make? Because I'm not interested in going in a long circle with you about what Biden said, about the infrastructure bill that you think is wrong. What do you think is the problem with Biden's speech? You are claiming he is being divisive. I think what he's doing is being unifying. He is calling on everybody, regardless of whether or not they are a Democrat or Republican, to unify against the extremists who are the dividers. He is advocating for unity against the people who are trying to push more division.
But the people that he considers extremists are the majority of the Republicans.
Wait.
That's divisive.
No, it's not. Those people are divisive because they're apparently too stupid to even know how an election works.
Okay, but then I don't want to go in a circular debate. This is, again, you could do the 2016. I mean, it was just
that's whataboutism.
Last week. It was just last week that his press secretary went over this.
No, she addressed it, but it was a tweet made in 2016. So other
Oh
than
my
that,
God.
what else do you want to talk about? I recognize if 70% of Republicans think the election was stolen, then yeah, that's pretty cringe. And at that point, I think it's probably them who are being divisive because they
And I
are
wouldn't
now
be
hold on, they're compromising the ability for this country to work as a unit to push forward for new elections. If every single time now the Republicans lose because they're unlikable cunts, and then they start whining about how, oh, it was actually stolen. Yes, they are actually undermining a process of our democracy, and they are causing people to no longer trust the American system. And what's even worse is if you no longer believe that you can trust the system, the only response is then violence, which is exactly what happened with January 6th. So no, Biden was calling for unity against the dividers, not the other way around.
no, but see, this is where I'm like in the middle right now. This is like where I'm pulling out my hair is just just the fact that like we keep sort of brushing by that, which is it's not the extremists. It's all the majority of one side, you know. So he's talking to Republicans like, no, you guys are, you know,
You just said, do you think they're
well,
all real Republicans? I would be willing to bet that a good many real quote-unquote Republicans, both within Congress and outside of it, are not of the belief that the election was stolen. I saw the poll you were talking about, and you're right. It does still seem that a large proportion of Republicans do believe that. But if Biden had made it sound as if that's the only necessity to be considered an extremist, then I don't know, maybe. But like Biden was obviously talking about more broadly the people that think the election was stolen and then the people that acted on that wrong belief. Either way, I'm not
okay,
backing down from the fact that it was a unifying speech for all of us to unify against the dividers. I'm going to keep saying that.
okay, well, he also seemed to be gaslighting, saying, you know, he's not in favor of any political violence, you know, and all that. Obviously, before the election, there was, you know, it's kind of cringe to even talk about it just because it's been said over and over
The
again.
BLM
But
stuff.
it will, you know, there is that, and there is also, I guess you can consider it a insurrection where they actually did storm the White House or whatever. He had to be taken underground and all that, and Trump
On
had to be
January
taken
6th?
underground. No, Trump had to be taken, you know, to the whatever underground.
Okay, well, yeah,
Um,
then those people would also be a fringe minority of extremists within the left side of things who would equally be considered extremist and should equally be condemned, and we should all be unifying against people like that as well. But furthermore, Biden has consistently condemned instances of violent protest, including BLM and Antifa. Though Biden voiced support for protesters' right to demonstrate, he has consistently condemned violence, including acts linked to activists from Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Here are 5 of his statements to that effect last summer. On May 29th, he told CNN that people, quote, have a right to be, in fact, angry and frustrated, and more violence, hurting more people, isn't going to answer the question. On May 31st, he wrote in a statement that protesting police brutality is right and necessary and an utterly American response. But burning down communities and needless destruction is not, Biden wrote. Violence that endangers lives is not. Violence that guts and shutters businesses that serve the community is not. Should I keep going?
wait, what? Sorry, man, you keep cutting out on me. Uh,
You said that Biden didn't condemn the BLM stuff, the violence there, but he was saying that he was condemning violence in the speech, correct?
right.
Okay,
Okay,
how
yeah,
much of
I
this did
got
you
you.
hear where he obviously has condemned violence from BLM and Antifa?
There's been plenty of it, but then when you put together like the indirect, you know, sort of, you know, God, sorry, my brain isn't working right now. Let me,
I don't think your brain has been working for a really long time. Because the fact that
dude,
you're coming
come
on here and you're making these dipshit claims and then saying something that Biden didn't condemn these things when it's just provably false. Yeah, I think something is wrong with your brain, dude.
Dude, give me a break, man.
No, you give me a break. Stop
all right,
saying
well,
dumb shit.
Let's go to Second Amendment. How about that stuff? How you want to talk about brain dead? Talk about automatic weapons. Oh, we're gonna ban automatic weapons.
Did he say that during the speech?
It was the speech right before that, which he kept citing.
Well, I'm only interested in talking about the one speech because I'm not familiar with the other thing. And so far, like what you've said has been like 50% wrong, 50% correct.
Said we'll do the most progressive, gun bans or something like that since Clinton.
Okay, cool.
That's kind of retarded because the Clinton gun ban didn't do a goddamn thing. They banned assault rifles and crime didn't go down with gun violence one bit.
Okay, that's great, and you're entitled to that opinion. I am not getting into like a gun. Hold on, I'm not getting into a gun. No, you're entitled to the opinion that Biden is retarded, quote unquote, for advocating for that. That's the opinion, and that's fine. I'm not debating you on that. We're debating on whether or not the speech itself was divisive. Do you have anything else to add to that, or are you ready to be done with the convo?
As far as that. Could I ask you one more thing real quick? As far as racism and all that, what do you think about systemic racism as far as like bankers and all that shit, like everything going on right now with have you heard about the Goldman Sachs $1 billion to minorities that they're donating?
Okay, I mean, I'm not familiar with that, but I mean, on its surface, that sounds great.
Okay, how about the Bank of America loans that home loans that they're giving to only Black and Hispanics? And
let's see.
Mind you, I'm quarter Black, quarter Mexican, and all that. But do you see any problem with this?
Yeah, I see a problem with you once again being a fucking idiot. Bank of America's new home loan program does not exclude any race, despite claims that say otherwise. They unveiled a new They unveiled a new loan program in Black and Hispanic neighborhoods to boost homeownership, where it lags. Headlines misconstrued it.
Okay, listen. Instead of calling me names, how about this? Remember 2006?
You're just like, you're saying one thing, and then I explain that it's wrong, and then you go to the next thing, and then I explain that it's wrong, and then you say one thing, and I say, okay, congrats, you kind of got that right.
Remember the housing crisis? What happened when they did this exact same thing?
No, actually, I don't, because I was still a really little kid then, unfortunately, but I see no relevance at all as to what this has to do with literally anything. Your claim a minute ago was that this is unfair because it's only for Black people. Now you're saying, yeah, but it didn't even work, ooh-woo. Which one is it? We're not arguing as to whether or not it was effective.
That wasn't my claim that it was unfair.
Okay, what is it?
My claim is that, can't you see this coming to another housing crisis? Because this is almost the exact same thing. Actually, it's even worse.
What's even worse is that the only publication that was making this claim is the Gateway Pundit. So maybe if you weren't reading like actual dog shit publications, you would know that this is complete nonsense. Anybody that takes anything said on the Gateway Pundit as a serious thing, I have lost hope for them at that point.
All right, well, I'll come back with more next time, dude.
Yeah, at least, please, just actually come back with like something, because this is just like you being wrong for 5 minutes and then getting mad when I call you dumb.
Okay, man. All right, well,
bye. Okay. All right, I'm not going to be taking his calls much anymore.